call the roll.
Olivia Quintero. Here. Vito Campanelli. Here. Winifred Rodriguez.
Here.
Jana Johnson. Here. Marv Jubicek. Here. Sharon Anderson. Here. George Shora.
Here. Okay, moving on with public comment.
Okay. For anyone who is using their phone who's using their phone to call into the meeting, you will automatically appear in our list of attendees. The last 2 digits of your phone number will be called out, and at that time, if you wish, you will be able to make a public comment. You will have 10 seconds to press *6 to unmute yourself to make your public comment. If you don't say anything within that 10 seconds, we will move on to the next person. If you unmute yourself out of turn, our moderator will mute you again. Anyone wishing to make a public comment will have 3 minutes to speak. Please note, after the 3-minute mark, you will be alerted that your time is up and will then be returned to a muted state. For anyone who is on Google Meet and joining that way, please check the chat box for the moderator's instructions on making public comments.
Tony Jackman has noted that she wishes to make a public comment. You may unmute yourself.
Thank you. This is Tony Jackman, Teachers Union President. I represent over 200 teachers in District 103. Let me first be clear that the teachers want nothing more than to get back to classrooms to build relationships and teach the students of District 103. But we do not want to do that at the cost of any lives. The Teachers Union is not happy about the calendar you're going to vote on tonight. There are many reasons for this, including the fact that it's June 30th, and historically the calendar is ready before spring break. And in fact, we had conversations with administration before we left due to the pandemic and were assured it would be voted on in April. There have been no good reasons brought before the union about why this vote has been delayed. A complete elimination of school improvement half days during which we get professional development, which seems completely against what the ISBE is recommending, in that we need more professional development, not less, in this environment. And the most important reason that we're against this calendar is that we're very afraid that the back to school plan, which is frankly in less than its infancy, will not be ready to implement in a way that assures the safety of students and staff members as of early August, when it would need to be. Even if we complete the plan in time, the materials and staff needed to appropriately implement the plan will likely be hard to come by and may not even be here in time. I'm sure you've all heard about the shortage of these materials. Having cleaning supplies, masks, personal PPE, thermometers, hiring of staff needed to implement, and training of staff that, according to the ISBE guidelines, calls for training before we come back to the building, seems to me to be a pipe dream if the goal is to be ready to accept students on August 17th. I wonder if the board understands the details needed to consider when creating this plan to return to school. Time does not allow me to list those, but I guarantee that the list is longer than you think. The teachers are pleading that the board delay bringing staff back until at least August 24th and students until at least August 26th. We ask that the board not subject the staff and students to a possibly unfinished or rushed plan. A less than perfectly planned and executed return isn't just about bad press or angry parents. It could mean a loss of life. I can't imagine that the board would want that on their hands. Thank you.
Next will be the number ending in 21. Next will be number ending in 30.
Hello, this is Tom Weiner. And I got a couple of questions. I probably won't get an answer tonight. But now that you got guidelines from the state on how to get schools ready and open up, do you have staff to actually do this? Are you going to have to bring back the custodians that were let go earlier this year to help clean up the schools, get them ready, and get them prepared for the students and teachers to come back on August 17th, which, like Tony Jackman, I think is a little too early. It's a little too aggressive. And also, how's the search for nurses for all the schools going? Do you have nurses for all the schools? Pardon? Oh. Okay, I guess I could send some feedback out here. Do you have nurses in line, or are you going to have to bring back the health aide that you let go so they can take temperatures of everybody walking into the schools? August 17th is, that gives you a month and a half to get things ready. You heard about, you knew that phase 4 was opening up on June 26th. You knew this for about a month. You heard Pritzker say when phase 4 was going to happen. You knew you were going to have this meeting a week ago, and yet you couldn't get a room and a hallway and a couple of bathrooms open so it could be open to the public. How are you going to get 6 schools ready by August 17th? Thank you.
The next number will be ending in 34.
Hello, my name is Shauna Osoka, and I am a parent in the district.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your name?
Yeah, and my name is Shauna Osoka.
Oh, Shauna, okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. So, I'm just listening to all this, and I'm just very upset by the fact that it seems like, once again, this board has no plan moving forward, and that you're just being moved by the puppet strings that are being pulled, and that you're just doing what you're told. When is it going to be enough that you're going to grow a heart and do what's right by the students in this district? When is it going to be enough that you do what is right by the staff members in this district? It is enough. We've all had enough, and this is all going to fall on you. All of these repercussions of what happens going forward is going to fall on you, and I hope that you wake up and realize that now. And that is all. Thank you.
The next number ends in 49. The next number ends in 73.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Simone Vitale. I want to thank you again for making this public, like online, even though we weren't able to be there in person today. Are you aware of all of the local, community, and parent concerns regarding the firing and hiring of staff without public approval, and some of the consequences that's having on the students in that instability of not having staff members continue their work there after being there for 27 years? I don't think that it's fair to the students to put the agenda of the board ahead of their education. And I don't feel that parents have the confidence that the children are being put first in this district. And I would like a statement from the school board to address the parental concerns and the concerns of the community regarding putting the education and the well-being
of the children in this community first.
Simone Vitale.
There is one more number ending in 73.
Yes, hello?
Hello.
Okay, my name's Gloria Medina. I am a concerned parent. I've always been there at the board meetings and tried to do my best to get the message across with communication with Mr. Rivera and President George Torres. And it appears that the board, the majority, which is 4 of them, I'll say it, George Torres, Vito Campanelli, Olivia Quintero, and Winifred Rodriguez, they are always voting on one side, and we all know who are the puppets. Okay? We need the kids first, safety. Okay? Please consider our education, their well-being. This plan that you have, I don't know what's going on. You don't ask opinion from the parents, from the community. I suggest that, you know, I really want a choice. Okay? I think remote learning is good for the people that can keep our kids home. And for those kids that can't stay home, and they need a building, you need to use your your mind and have a plan, okay? Because we shouldn't be doing your work, okay? Thank you.
Okay, the moderator said there's no one else who would like to make a public comment, but I do have public comments. The first one is from Joanne Schaefer. She has some questions. Since school is starting 8/17/20, has the district ordered a sufficient amount of distance thermometers for each school? And who's going to take the temperatures? Number 2, why didn't we have a distance thermometer for tonight, and was one required by law? Number 3, when will constituents be able to attend meetings? Number 4, what is the money being used for regarding the transfers? Why does it need to be transferred? Where and what is it going to be spent on? Number 5, when was the revised budget, when did it go on display for public viewing, and did the board get a copy? Number 6, when was the board told of the transfers? Are we overspending that much in the ed fund? Number 7, what one-time non-reoccurring expenses were paid with the $600,000 that was known about when the budget was drafted? Number 8, why did you take from torts to pay for expenses? Number 9, did you transfer from torts to O&M so that you could transfer to ed funds without adversely impacting the ISB district financial profile calculation? Number 10, the only place you can move tort money to is O&M for one-time non-reoccurring expense. Please tell me what the one-time non-reoccurring expenses are that you knew about. Second public comment, Valerie Cassell is a parent, and she wants to express her extreme disappointment in Mr. Rivera not being prepared for the meeting to be fully open to the public. The info for Phase 4 was released 10 days before it was signed on the 26th. Preparations to be an open meeting was possible, but you chose to not prepare, and that shows your lack of leadership, as well as Mr. Torres allowing you to continue to not meet public expectations and to keep your job while scaling our school district is the simplest of things, like arranging chairs and cleaning of one hallway, a cafeteria, and 2 bathrooms. This budget and the excessive transfers feels like you are being sneaky and not allowing us to interact, comment, and question properly was a choice you made purposely. Also, a phone call we all muted on is not the same as public discussions at a normal budget meeting. You all need to do better and do right by the students, the staff, and the school community. Next, there is a comment from Susan Zanini. ISB, under Part 3 of the Transition Guidance, advised hiring registered nurses is not required under the return to school guidance for COVID. Why is there an action item, IDG, the action item number, for hiring registered nurses, LPNs, or CNA positions? The district could not hire and retain one RN for the district for the last 6 years I've lived here. Why isn't there any consideration for bringing back the health aid? It would clearly be more economic. Next, Shauna Ozawa. I'm sorry, Shauna, if I didn't say your last name right. A taxpayer and parent in District 103. As we all saw, you're planning on opening schools August 17th. How is this even possible? You have failed to inform parents and staff members of proper procedures that the staff and students will follow. What measurements have taken place in order to return at this early date? Wouldn't it be beneficial to have a later start to ensure safety measures have been properly followed? There has been no mention of hiring nurses since you so callously let go of our nurse aides. What is your plan? Who will be taking care of your children if they become ill? The board majority better take the moving forward of the school year very serious, as you will be held responsible with the repercussions. Also, as a taxpayer, I would like a detailed explanation how and why you are transferring $1.2 million. What shady dealings do you have? And the last public comment is from Melanie McReady, parent at Lincoln School. Hello, I was recently informed that the start of the school year is going to be August 17th, which is extremely hot, and I am not comfortable sending my 6-year-old to school in a mask to sit in a hot school all day. Will e-learning still be available for families who don't want their kids to suffer in school all day? 6-year-olds cannot and should not be expected to wear masks all day. If e-learning isn't going to be offered, I think you will see a lot of parents taking their kids out of the school district. And that ends it for the public comments.
Okay, well, yes, I was asked to read a statement on behalf of Winifred Rodriguez. I believe you all have a copy of the
We all got the email.
document.
Isn't it the same as the email we got?
Oh, no, this is more exhibitory.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So then can I just clarify? You're going to read that, which means any of us can write a statement and you're going to read that also. Okay, that's just a question.
Been asked to read a statement by the board president. I'm going to read the statement that I was requested to read. We're all familiar with the vicious name calling that is directed at the leader of this board by politically driven members who lost control of the board through the will of the District 103 parents, families, and voters. Normally, as responsible leaders, we ignore these petty personal attacks, but in recent weeks, the negative attacks have become more outrageous, more personal, more libelous, and they appear in a Facebook page that supposedly was set up to address the needs of the students. Instead, it has become a vicious soapbox of hate, libel, name-calling, and personal attack. The private online SD 103 residence page is controlled by 5 activists, including 2 members of the board, colleagues who should be spending their efforts helping students and improving education instead of allowing false personal attacks to dominate the online blog. Marge Hubasek and Sharon Johnson. Recently, the Facebook page has stepped up its hate and directed vicious, shameful, and personal attacks against me. Hubasek and Johnson, who run the blog, decide which comments are published and which are removed. They decide whether the blog will focus on the needs of the school children, the concerns of the school district, or focus instead on their own selfish politics and name calling. Even though the comments they approve, which viciously and personally have been attacking me, are made by others, I believe by individuals who they know and work with, they are personally responsible for the libel and false statements that are being made and that are so disrespectful. You have to ask how people like that can even be associated with the needs of our school children. Let me repeat, Hubasek and Johnson control the blog and have the control to selectively remove and permit personal and unpleasant comments to be published prior to being displayed on this public forum. Hubasek and Johnson have a right to their political opinions, regardless of whether those policies hurt or harm the interests and needs of our students. But what they do not have is the right to do is manage a a vicious campaign of hatred that wrongfully attacks the members of this board and parents who are concerned about the interests of our school children. The Facebook page under Hubicek and Johnson's control is a disgrace. It is shameful. Rather than being a source of accurate information about the school district and the needs of the students, it is a source of libel, name-calling, and vicious personal attacks. It's an embarrassment to the district and to their claims of concern for education. I will not repeat the ugliness that Hubicek and Johnson allow on this site, but I will not remain silent in the face of their denigrating failed leadership, and I am demanding that they demonstrate decorum, encourage a healthy discussion about the district's needs that is fair to everyone, and end the childish name-calling and vicious, sour grapes that consume their roles. To allow disgraceful attacks that reference my son, a Chicago policeman dedicated to protecting the lives of families and the public who lost his life in a motorcycle accident. These comments and attacks are not anonymous on these private Facebook pages. They are made by people directly associated with Hubicek and Johnson, including Johnson's activist husband, Earl Johnson. Allowing individuals to post disparaging personal attacks in the wake of his death is in the height of impertinence and unprofessionalism. As board members, our responsibility is to focus on the needs of our children and on the school district. We should do so with decorum and dignity and a shared vision and knowledge that in the end, what we do impacts these students directly. We should always show leadership and professionalism even when we disagree.
With that, and
and we should set an example for our students to encourage them to become contributing members of our society and leadership roles, even when they disagree, do so in an agreeable tenor. I want to thank those board members who have shown respect, Board President George Torres and board members Vito Campanelli and Olivia Quintero. Your words of compassion reflect your genuine concern, not only for me as a colleague, but also shows a foundation for your love for the district and its students. As for Hubicek and Ms. Johnson, you should let go of your hate and muzzle the vicious anger. Instead of embracing the hate, the personal attacks, the lies, show some dignity and professionalism. Focus your efforts on making School District 103 the best school district in the country. Don't drag it down into the gutter of your deficiencies. Rather than be a source of information, the Facebook page and the name-calling that dominates it is an insult to the school district, an insult to every parent who works hard to provide the best environment for their children, an insult to every student who strives to excellence and achievement, and an insult to every member of this board. That two board members are behind this is just simply the height of unprofessionalism and disrespect. Thank you. And
so, in regards to this, it is full of false information. As you know, in the email that we responded to, or I responded to, and Mark responded to,
was rude.
this
Which was rude.
This was posted late at night. This was posted late at night. We did not see it.
It was posted late at night.
I am
But it
speaking
was not deleted.
because we didn't see it.
It was
And it was deleted because Deanna runs the page.
So did you.
No, I don't.
You are.
I'm an admin, but I'm not on the page. I need to finish speaking. Excuse me. You said your three
I don't want to
speaking.
hear you.
Too bad.
I don't want to hear you.
So I am speaking.
I don't want to hear you.
The truth is somebody else runs this page. We were added as
Your
admins
name
to
is
it.
on there.
We were on vacation last week, which was why I was not at the board meeting. This was brought to my attention when I saw it posted by your daughter on Lions Living. After it was taken down from this page. It was taken down from this page.
What kind of
So then, when your daughter reposted it, it brought to everybody's attention. I did not post it. I did not post it. I posted an apology. I said that it was wrong, and it was taken down. And it was taken down. So you need to stop. This is highly inappropriate. No, my husband and I had nothing to do with this. My husband and I had nothing to do with
Because
this.
that's what's on that Facebook page. SD103 is referenced on there, and that's a disgrace to us, because that's showing what kind of people the board is.
Okay, so
And we're not part of that. We're not part of that.
Well, let's just get to the basics. When you run a blog on Facebook, you
Not a
get a
blog.
word. I don't care if you're in China or in South Pole. You get a
Well, we
word
can
on
just rename
demand.
it and not under SD103.
I don't get paid $2,000 a month to run a Facebook page. We were licensed to help Deanna. As soon as it was made aware, it was taken down. As soon as it was made aware, it was taken down.
Social media.
And another thing is, your daughter reposted it. It was taken down. It was taken down. It was taken down.
No, it was.
I did not see it. I did not see it.
Two people called.
I did not see it. Some of us are not on social media 24/7.
Let's move on.
No, I'm not moving on to there. Over me.
This
And
is not going
just to let you know, if you wanna talk about libel, if you wanna talk about libel and everything else, thank you for the evidence. This is perfect.
Moving on. I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a, do I have a motion?
Wait a minute.
I want the bill.
And I'll
Well,
second it.
I can't add a
Any
memorandum.
comments on the consent agenda?
No, I want
Consent
those two
agenda
items pulled out, and
only.
Felicia tells you every month I can do that. I have questions about the bill list, and I have questions about the memorandum of understanding. You don't need a motion. Check Robert's rules.
I understand it, but you're commenting on something that we're not talking about.
I want a consent agenda.
I want to,
Consent agenda.
I want to pull those two items off that you said to you. A, I do a special bill list because I have questions, and the memorandum of understanding, so we can have a discussion on it.
And then, I'm sorry, I missed, who did the first?
Winifred did,
Where
and I
is
seconded.
it?
So that's the motion, you're gonna have to, the only thing left on the consent agenda, then is the approval of approving.
Wait,
She pulled two items from the consent agenda. So the only thing left on the consent agenda is the approval of employment. You'll have to vote, both the other items. Individually, yeah.
Can I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Okay. Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
Vito Campanelli.
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez.
So are we?
Wait, this is just for item A? One A.
Item B.
Item B.
Item B, I am so sorry, item B, and I
This
don't
for
have
the school calendar?
No. Oh, okay, approval of employment.
employment.
So it's item B.
A through what? C.
No, it's
The
No,
consent
it's just
agenda.
B.
No, we're approving only one, which is B.
Right, we're going to B1 to A.
Approval of quote.
Okay,
So A and C are being put on the side, is what you're saying?
correct. No, we vote on them separately. Okay. Okay, so Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Shannon Johnson.
yes.
Marge Jubicek.
Yes.
Sharon Anderson. Yes. George Torres.
Yes.
Now, we can vote on A, and then,
Yes, now call,
on the bill list, we have to get a
Okay.
second.
Okay,
fully called.
do I have a motion for approving item A on the consent agenda, the year-end bill list for fiscal year 2019-2020?
I'll make that motion.
Got a second? I'll second.
I have a question. Sorry, do you wanna go first? I'm having a hard time reading who it was prepared by. The signature is not legible.
Who was it prepared?
Yeah.
Is Sheila still available here to answer questions?
Sheila, you still on?
What was the question?
Who prepared the bill list? The signature is not legible.
Oh, Annalisa De Saguna.
Annalisa Day. And who is she in our district?
She's a temporary employee.
So through an agency?
I'm sorry?
Is it through an agency?
Yes.
And yes, did you ask for all the signatures, who the other signatures are?
I'm assuming the business manager, that's Sheila's signature, and the superintendent, that's Chris's signature, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Okay, are you done, Shannon?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
my question is, on page 1, there's a listing for, I wrote it down, $6,562.50 for Guardian, and it says alternate funded. If you go down to page 3, there's a charge of, it's the same, I think it's page 3, let me go down to find page 3. It's the same charge. Can you explain why it's on twice?
I have to check, but I know that they were not paid twice. But I have to check why it was recorded twice. It could be 2 separate reports, an accounting report and then just a general report, but I have to double check.
What does alternate funded mean?
I don't know what that is regarding. I'm not sure. Let me check.
For the record, it's not page 3, it's page 4.
Okay, page 4.
Okay. I'll double check.
Okay, that was my question.
And I have one more question. I don't know if this is regarding to Chris or, I noticed that a bill for Olafson and Stark, for the teacher aides negotiations, for $18,000. We're still not done with negotiations though, correct?
We had mediation today, but we think we've come to an agreement.
Okay, so is that, and this was from 6/30/2020, so is that including,
Including today?
yeah, so it needed more money.
Correct.
Okay.
Call roll.
Vito Campanelli,
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez,
Yes.
Shannon Johnson,
Yes.
Marv Jubicek,
No.
Karen Anderson, Deb Quintero,
Yes.
George Torres.
Yes. Item C on the consent agenda, memorandum of understanding. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments?
Yeah, my question is, this comment is that, the reason I wanted it, to be voted on separately, because this is it's an important step they're taking. We're gonna have now coaches, it's July 1st tomorrow, that need to be adequately changed, trained. And we need to replace those because, Mr. Rivera said last meeting that we would not be hiring anybody new, that this would come from our staff. So I'm sure that there's gonna have to be some moving around of people. Also, I just want to state that in talking with staff, this is not supported by teachers. I'm not sure, I'm not saying that they don't support coaches, but they don't support, this motion, this resolution. So I wanted it separate so that it gives us the opportunity to vote yea or nay and not just part of the consent agenda.
Okay. But,
Winifred Rodriguez,
Yes.
Shannon Johnson,
No.
Marv Jubicek.
No.
Sharon Anderson. No. Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
Vito Campanelli,
yes.
George Torres.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on. With our action items, okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve the resolution approving fund transfers of Lyons School District 103, Cook County, Illinois, as presented. Do I have a motion? Motion.
I'll second that.
I feel that this should have been done in a public meeting, as it was a public hearing. There is no excuse for this to be thrown together this way. There was plenty of time to open up this meeting to the public. There's plenty of time to follow those COVID instructions. We got notice of this special meeting before even our last board meeting. I want to say the email was about 2 weeks ago. So you knew that this special meeting was coming up. And as soon as we got into phase 4, which we all knew was going to be June 26th, we knew that weeks ahead of time. There was plenty of time if you truly wanted this open to the public. It could have been opened up to the public.
Also, in the past, when we had transfer of funds, we had the opportunity, at usually a committee as a whole, to fully ask questions and to get answers and speak to the business manager so that we had a clear understanding of what we were going to be asked to do. This is, again, last minute stuff, no input, no discussion with the board, and we had time to do it. We could have discussed it at the last meeting, and then as a discussion item, and then brought it up for action item today, and we didn't have that opportunity.
Call roll.
Shannon Johnson?
No.
Marge Jubicek?
No.
Sharon Anderson?
No.
Olivia Quintero?
Yes.
Vito Campanelli?
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez?
Yes.
George Torres?
Yes. Motion passes.
Does the resolution have to be read aloud or no?
No.
Moving on, action item B, approval of school year 2020-2021 school calendar. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the school year calendar for school year 2020-2021 as presented. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
that.
Put my hand up right away, so
Yeah.
we can jump up. I have a few questions, so I have them all written down, I'm ready to go. My first one was originally that this was overlapping summer school, but I've since found out that you pushed summer school back. So summer school will be starting earlier. Have you informed the parents of that?
Yes.
When will you be doing that?
Tomorrow.
Okay. I see that we have dates for online registration. Will there be any dates or accommodations for in-person registration in case somebody can't do it online for some reason?
The format has changed, it can all be done online, so are you
Right, but I'm
talking
saying if
YouTube
somebody,
or?
well, I'm talking somebody who perhaps doesn't have access or whatever.
Yes, we were gonna have kiosks, with iPads in each of the buildings manned by an office staff person. Because the reason we're looking at iPads is they're gonna have to upload documents, so if they take pictures of them, they can do that right on site.
You already answered my question regarding the PPE. You said that you ordered that. According to the calendar, there are no, school improvement days. You've got like 4 half days, which are directly in correspondence with parent-teacher conferences. So those are what those half days are for. And I see no teacher institute days.
Sure.
There are two, there are some
There should be
teachers
4.
Where?
August the 13th, 14th.
Oh, that's the beginning of the year. Yeah, I'm not talking to, there's
one-
support, those are
there's
the ones,
one-
those are the welcome back to school, this is what we're gonna
Should be
do.
4.
Where are the?
There's,
November,
April 6th.
November and January, and November and,
April.
Okay, I used to tell I don't have my reading glasses.
Me
But
neither.
that's still technically only 2, because the first 2 generally, I mean, those are like the welcome back to school, which is what we're doing kind of thing. So, okay, so this is that, and, you've got parent-teacher conferences scheduled for 1 month after the quarter ends. So how is that gonna help any teachers who are needing to meet with parents, or parents who are wanting to meet with teachers, in regards to their students and, you know, behavior or additional services or whatever? Like, it's a whole month later. At this point, they're well into the next quarter. So.
You know, of course, it's still gonna help, it's still gonna be a movement, but some of the standards based at the lower grades, it's more like ongoing portfolio.
Yeah, I
type
happen
of-
to know that some of the teachers in the lower grades are not happy with that.
With,
With it being a whole month after,
Oh,
the quarter closes. And I think that's it.
I have a couple of things, okay? The school improvement days. We heard from the union president who's in contact with her teachers, that they're not happy with that, and I honestly don't blame them. And I know half days can be an issue, but I don't see anything else in here for any kind of staff development. We're going into uncharted territory again. We closed out a year and went through from March on a whole new experience for everyone. We don't know how the opening is going to go, what it's all going to entail, and now we've taken any chance for us to have staff development for our teachers. I think that's not that's not good. It's not good for our staff. It's not good for the kids. The other thing I had, the Teacher Institute on November 3rd. I listened to every COVID-19 thing I can think of. The governor came on. I tried to make some phone calls today, and I couldn't get through to the COVID line or West 40. They never called me back. I was under the impression that November 3rd was now going to be a state holiday for elections, because what the governor had said was that we don't have school on those days, but many schools are open and are used as polling places, and that they were going to change that and have, and I don't know if it's going to change forever, but that November 3rd would be a holiday. So I would ask you to take a look at that, because then, of course, we're not going to have staff in it for a teacher.
Have they approved it?
I thought they did. I
thought had them approved us as a holiday.
Well, I don't know, that's why I asked.
For, like, you and me at work, I think it's like a school.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a non-working holiday.
All the things that
But that was something they said. My other concern is, if we're gonna start school on the 17th, traditionally, our secretaries and principals come back 3 weeks before school, and they stay 2 weeks after. 3 weeks to get everything ready, get the list, get the books, all of that, and none of us know how that's gonna look like. Is it gonna be less work? Is it gonna be more work? But now we're having them, that if we start them, that means that they're coming back in July. Have you thought about that? Because we didn't really, as a board, get to discuss this. And these are some of the things that we discussed ahead of time. My other concern, I brought it up the last time, our school secretaries did not get a raise for this year. You haven't brought a raise, any kind of raise back for them for next year. That's a concern for me. We're having them come in. We don't know what the job description is. We didn't have any problem approving over $17,000 in raises, but nothing for the ladies in our offices who are truly the backbone of the school. Talk to any principal, anybody who's been a principal, and we're disrespecting them. Do they know? I know that this hasn't been approved, but it seems to me that, that word gets out that things are going to happen before we take a vote, and I guess the preconceived notion is that it's going to go through, but I just think that those are things to think about, and this is not, I don't believe that this is a good calendar.
Why the August 17th start date?
in line with the, both of South Cedar High School.
So Morton and them are going back, because I know in the past that even though the high schools were going earlier, we have gone later. I share the concern that Ms. Jackman shared and other people have shared, that I feel like we're jumping the gun, that we need to know a little bit more about what these guidelines are going to entail. And we have a lot of schools and big buildings and way less custodial staff to get it ready for these kids. I feel that if we start on like the 24th, and then we go a little bit later in May, that might serve us a little bit better, because it'll give us a little bit more time and a bigger picture. And as you stated earlier, things are changing constantly. So it might be a little more solidified in what is expected. So I would really, really hope to push it back to the 24th to give it a little bit more time for this, especially for the safety of everybody involved.
Do you have
and I know, I'm sure you don't have a solid set in stone, I'm sure it's all still being worked out. But do you have a general idea of what, the start of school will look like? Like, are we talking, half and half? Are we talking, some kids come on Monday, Wednesday, some come on Tuesday, Thursday? Because, 25 kids in a classroom, most classrooms aren't this large, especially in the K-5. So trying to get like 25 kids 6 feet apart in those classrooms might be difficult. Like, what are you leaning toward, the start of the school year looking like? If you had your way. And I also just wanted to point out, like, contingency plan in case, because I know a lot of colleges have already said, come Thanksgiving break, you're going on break and you're not coming back. It's e-learning, because they're expecting flu season to roll in and, big swing in Corona again. And so if you had your way, what would it look like?
Well, it'll look like us providing what we collectively need, which is what's in process. So what's going out, hopefully tonight, we've been working our tails off, is a survey for the parents. I have parts for the students and for the staff developed already, but I hope to get the parents one out. If not tonight, tomorrow morning, we're working on translating. We got it together, so that's going to be, and we're going to open it up. And I've got a presentation with the reporting about where we are now and how the process is going to go. And I'm going to do these types of presentations, regularly along the way, probably weekly, because it's going to move quickly. So I want everyone to kind of have an idea of how this is evolving, depending on the data, depending on the resources. Now, contingency plan, we are going to have enough devices for every child and every teacher. We will have enough for all.
What is a device?
A Chromebook.
Okay.
And with that, so we're going to be prepared to be remote. One thing that we did during weekly, during the closure, was train all staff every Wednesday and continued that throughout those remote learning planning days. Now, one adjustment we'll likely have to make to the, which will give us some more professional development opportunities, is the remote learning planning days that were just added. And so we'll incorporate those into the calendar and probably make an amendment a little bit later. I wanted to get the structure in place, but we haven't had time to discuss, where to place these days and whatnot. Answer a little bit of what you had asked earlier, Marge, was the PD is, it's incorporated. My principals went to work with their building leadership team and incorporated 1 hour a week. Some of them broken up, but an hour a week nonetheless, for PD, and that's where the instructional coaches are going to come into play and help prepare us. Now, we're going to be prepared to do that on site, remotely, or in a hybrid. And so we're looking at the three models that were provided and discussing what will it look like. So, the surveys are going to help provide us input. The teachers we met this past Monday, we met a week and a half before that as well, prior to having the guidance, just trying to analyze what our resources are. So those are the kinds of things we're looking at right now, and it's going to evolve, and I'll be posting on, some items are going up to Facebook tonight. The survey will hopefully go up tonight. My presentation is almost done. I've got to record it to let individuals know where we're at and how we're progressing. And the other surveys will be coming out this week as well. So we're going to be moving and shaking quite a bit.
So my follow-up to that is, for any, will you be making accommodations for any students whose parents are uncomfortable sending them to school?
That's one of the questions, yes.
And then on top of that, how, with you wanting school to start so much earlier, and I know 2 weeks doesn't seem like so much, but it is. When will you be letting parents know? Because depending on what your model you come up with, some of them may need to make additional accommodations on their end due to whatever. If the kids are going to be remote learning and if they're back to work or what have you. So how much are you going to be able to give parents enough time to adjust to the new school year prior to you know, let's like not roll it out to 16. When they go back the next day.
And the surveys are gonna be important, but one thing I want to try to envision is, I do think there's gonna be a percentage of the population that, regardless of what's happening with the numbers of the coronavirus and whatnot, are still gonna be reluctant to send their kids to school. I wanna have a plan to possibly accommodate that. And then I also think I'm gonna have many families that are ready to send the kids back who have been, you know, struggling with work scenarios and feel that the cleaning procedures and the masks and the social distancing that we put in place will be, they'll be comfortable with it. So we're looking, you know, and I'm thinking out loud, you know, I'm working on this with the team, so I don't wanna jump the gun and get ahead of what the team's working on, but, you know, I do think, you know, there's gonna be both ends of the spectrum, and I know the teachers union is looking to, you know, phase in. So these are the discussions right now. What I plan to do is keep these kinds of updates happening as we meet. So we're gonna be meeting, you know, with teachers, meeting with departments. You know, Bob Koch and I are getting together tomorrow to really make sure we got our orders in place, what else might we need, and we have our wish list, but we want to make sure everything's progressing. So those types of dynamics, the orders for technology, they said, you know, time frame, we've got some of them ordered already, the other ones are coming in and being ordered at this time. So we think we're going to be on target, you know, communicating with the groups and those type of dynamics, but it's going to be constant, creating, developing, touching base, feeling the pulse, communicating, and checking on different aspects between departments and service. How's that going to, you know, be handled, and the cleaning between and the staffing we're meeting on tomorrow to make sure we can handle everything that we're going to need to keep the places disinfected. The equipment, you know, looking at wands, infrared wands, we're looking at more Clorox machines to make sure we can do it regularly and have enough staff to do it in some sort of rotation fashion. Looking at models of possibly moving teachers, possibly half days for individuals. All these dynamics are on the table right now. I know, you know, I'd like to see us get back to normal and hopefully be safe. That's what I hope for. But we're going to need to accommodate individuals, and you got the, you know, and the guidance that Carmen Ayala has put out from ISB, the special needs population really needs to be in person if possible. Strongly emphasize English language learner students, which we have a high population of, in person if possible, and under the age of 13. And you look at that, they're strongly recommending that most of our districts be back in person.
Who makes those decisions, whether they can be remote or in person?
It's locally decided. It's in our hands. It's in our hands.
Two questions. Well, one time, I don't think any of us would disagree with you. We would love to see all the kids back in school 100,000%. And I think we all want them safely doing that. And I would say the majority of our parents are probably wanting that too, but I know there are those concerns out there. If there is a remote option, is there going to be a standard LMS that everybody is using across the board? Learning management system, yeah. Like if everybody's going to be doing Google or Quality.
We trained everybody on Google, and then we also purchased, you know, it being flexible, was Screencastify. I think it was $3,000 for the whole district for every teacher to have. And what you can do with that is record your instruction. And so a possibility with that, you know, again, I'm just sharing possibilities where we're not set anywhere yet, but is to record your instructions, and then if there's a hybrid of a smaller group, doing the differentiation and the small group attention live in person with smaller groups. So it's quasi flipping the classroom, which is a concept that's been around for a little bit. So we're prepared with the resources. We did so much training, and I think we have a good foundation brought up to a higher level with Google Classroom, with Castify, with Google Meet. with, Zoom and those different dynamics, the other software that we've also had, I mean, Derek could rattle them all off. So, you know, we've done training and even like individual office hours where we're available, individually for smaller groups of teachers and differentiating our PD for them as well. So we have a good foundation to handle this now. We have all of the resources that we're going to need coming in. It's going to be a matter of implementing and adjusting along the way with our PD support system.
Just some of the feedback that was received is that there were so many options, like a lot of these companies like were giving it for free and we were utilizing them, and then the parents were like, whoa, my kindergartner is using ABC and my fourth grader is using X, Y, and Z, and oh my God, I can't keep a track. So if we have a little bit more uniformity.
And that's what was happening because that's all we had.
Right.
We weren't uniform at the time during the. But now, during those trainings at the time, that was our aim, is to try and get more uniform and revolve around Google. It's a great device, it's flexible, we have it, you know, we have access to it.
So are you gonna continue to having kind of trainings with your staff?
Yes.
As we approach the start of the
And again, it's built into the schedule, so that we get 1 hour a week for our instructional coaches to be assisting and helping provide that PD and, you know, learning our system. A lot of the other things that we worked on, the MTSS, database problem solving methods, those are going to be incorporated and enhanced. And so, I mean, if you think of what I've done since I've been here, is trying to build the engine so that hopefully by January, we can take off and everyone's trained and well-versed in using it. Some mistakes a lot of well-intended administrators made is to grab the next best fad and train it and teach it, and then next week it's something else new, and you never really get fluent at anything. We are going to have a strong foundation to build up.
My second question kind of piggybacks off of that. When these teachers are getting that 1 hour of built-in PD, who is going to be teaching their class?
The schedule, put it on the front house, and we're fortunate. I mean, when I came in, I said, ooh, we're blessed, we have to utilize that time. That's how we were able to design this, because each week, a teacher has 11 preps. And while they're a half hour, that is a luxury. It is nice to have that flexibility. 6 of them are for them. Hands off. Personal preps, do your collaboration, so on and so forth. The other one is we're going to utilize 2 of them for PD, and then the other one's for the building principals to manage.
And that's in their contract? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it's all appropriate.
That's what they're very likely.
I had a couple of questions, and one ties right into that. So, first of all, who's going to be training the coaches? Because tomorrow's July 1st.
Yes.
So when are the coaches going to be trained? And then when they have the half days, many times they were able to get together as by grade level. This isn't going to happen anymore. So it's going to really be in isolation if it's only a half hour. So to me, that doesn't take the place of a half a day of training, of staff development. It's not the same. It's not bad, but it's not anywhere near the same because it's not that collaboration between grade levels. My other comment is that if that survey doesn't get out until tomorrow, you have to give people a chance to get it back. So there really is not a plan yet, because if you're not going to take what the parents said and incorporate it, and some of it will be stuff that you can't even do, I get that. But now you're well into July, and we maybe have a month to get this all together. That doesn't seem like a long time. And
we did the remote learning plan in about a week. And we're building off of that. That is part of this. So we'll be.
Well, maybe the feedback that you got was different than the feedback that some of the rest of us got about the remote learning. I think we did the best job we could, probably, but it needs to be enhanced. I don't think that that's enough time, and I nowhere think that having a coach when you're gonna train those people, who's gonna train the people that apply for that. Having, that half hour, is not the same, as a half a day of training for teachers and that staff development, especially when we're going into really uncharted territory here.
And one more thing, Chris. You were a teacher before you became administrator, right? I think you would agree, any amount of plans are never a luxury, they are a necessity. So stating that having 11 plans is a luxury, it's not a luxury. They are utilized, these teachers work their butts off, they work outside of school, and you know this all too well, because you were a teacher beforehand. So I would be careful to not phrase it as.
Oh, I don't mean that in any negative way, it's just compared to certain, other districts, I think.
We do have, right, we are blessed to have that amount available to our teachers.
Yeah, no negative thing.
Yeah, but it's not a luxury, it's a necessity, for sure.
Well, the bottom line, the district will be ready to have school on.
Mar Dubus. No. Sharon Anderson? No. Olivia Quintero? Yes. Vito Campanelli?
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez?
Yes.
Shannon Johnson?
No.
George Torres?
Yes. Motion passes. Hearing none. Action item C, looking for a motion to approve the following student fees for school year 2020-2021. Registration fee, $54. Registration fee is eligible for reduced meal, $27. Registration fee is eligible for free meal, number, $0. Band and orchestra, 0. Basketball, 0. Cheerleading, 0. DW activities, teacher, scholastic, 0. Mask, personal protective equipment, 0. Replacement mask will cost $3. Exclusive. Do I have a motion to approve? Oh, middle school fee. PE shirt, $10. PE pants, $10. Go ahead. Well, let's make a motion. I'm looking for a motion to approve these. Motion. Second? Sorry. Go ahead.
Where did you get these fees from? I personally don't think it's fair that, for instance, I then have to pay $54 versus someone with reduced lunch, and then the free lunch, you don't pay anything. I mean, how did that come about?
Well, our demographics, people that don't have, believe it or not, we even have, homeless students in our district, so, they told you, sometimes $54 is not a whole lot for some, and it could be much for a lot, because of the demographics. Spend like that for a while.
And I don't think we can charge free. It's not very much.
Right.
Can't charge
Or
full price for somebody on reduced.
Right.
My question is, I don't care about those fees. My question is the mask. Everything we've heard is kids are gonna have masks, but we've all had, maybe some of our kids are grown, but we've all had little kids. So we're gonna give them, the one free mask. Is that a reusable, rewashable mask? Okay. How are you gonna work it when you just don't, that's gonna be a train wreck of kids. Kids are kids. They're not gonna remember to bring it, they're gonna lose it, they're gonna break, and now what are you gonna do if they don't have the $3 to replace that? My concern is that, is anybody gonna keep that mask clean? Because they're washable, if they're reusable and they're washable, you just throw, the cotton ones we have, you throw them in the wash. I just think that if we're getting money from the government for masks, then I'm not saying that the kid gets off with, going through 10 masks a year. I think $3 is a lot, and it looks like everybody's gonna do it. How are you gonna handle the kids on free and reduced lunch? And if a child comes to school and they don't have a mask and they don't have $3, what are we gonna do about it? I'd much rather see us take some of the money that's going, from wherever else you're gonna put it, and have more masks on hand and see how it goes. I support everything else. It's that $3, and where did that come from?
And we look at the that, we looked at that, and, most of us have these type of masks, and anyone can afford a pack of these for $10 and Walgreens for $9 or whatever. People are making their own masks. We don't have a standard for that. We're not ordering anyone to bring an N95 mask or anything like that. So a lot of our families, they're probably gonna have their own. And so that is the responsibility of the parents. How are we gonna try to keep our kids that we love to keep their hands clean? They got their hands attached to their body. How you gonna, same thing with the mask, the uniforms, that kind of stuff. So it's not like, okay, well, you're not gonna, be attending school today just because you don't have a mask. I mean, I think that we're flexible with that. I always have my kids bring lunch from home. I never had reduce or anything like that. And when she forgot lunch, it was completely unforgiving. She walked the whole day with no eat. No one was liable for that. I questioned her so many times, and, that happens. So, a mask is a mask. I mean, we understand that, but, families, they have the ability of buying these things, this 9 for 20 of these or whatever, and, I don't think that should be a problem.
Well,
So what will happen?
I understand the fee, but,
And what are you gonna
you are responsible. How are you gonna bring your kid to school with no mask? That's number
How do
one
they bring their
concern.
kid to school
How
with
are
no
you gonna bring
backpack?
your
How do they bring their kid to school without
to
clothing?
school
Yeah.
with no backpack? I mean, that's,
But what we're saying they do.
They do,
is
that
they
they're
do, and what are we
still
gonna
kids.
do?
Or they don't wanna work. But, the thing is, George, you seem to have known about this ahead of time, you
Yeah,
said
who
we talked.
discussed it?
So, the board never got a chance to discuss it, we never got an email about it, we don't have committee as a whole anymore. And I don't think it's fair that you're the only one that got input on this, and the rest of us never even had, and now you're just presenting us with this, and I think $3 is steep, and I just don't know that you're gonna be able to do that. And we have to have some compassion for kids who don't come from homes where mom and dad are there in the mornings, and they have to get, and we're talking about 7th grade boy now. Well, I don't want to learn that now, well, guess what, I'm not gonna bring it to school. And what's the plan for that? And so, I have a problem, I don't have a problem with the other, fees, but I do have a problem with that one.
Is there, what is, can
and
we possibly?
these tags along with our fee, insurance, and PIN. So if they're eligible for reduced meal, fee reduced by 50%. So that includes all the above. So if eligible for free meal, reduced to nothing. So
Would it be
basically,
possible to
the
reduce the
mask for
mask?
nothing, and, I'm sorry?
So would it be possible to reduce the mask for those that can't?
I think we just settled it, yeah, that the free lunch, don't pay for it.
Yeah,
That's
but the
a
mask
good
you
way
do.
But we would just,
Like,
we
Whoa.
have considered it. I
no, the
don't
replacement,
understand
the
it. I
replacement,
know, but that's what I thought he was saying above.
I don't know.
Well, can you do it so that they're allowed, like, especially in the K-5s, like maybe they're allowed 1 or 2 additional, like replacement masks, and anything over that, then they have to?
And what we didn't know
You
was.
don't wanna become a pattern.
Right, and we placed the order with the surrounding districts, so that's why we got it at such a good price for cloth, on ones, but, we're gonna have the disposable ones on hand too, because we don't want anyone to be,
Not to attend school because
and
of no
and
mask.
not be safe,
Yeah.
so that, we're
So,
gonna,
You're gonna have those available for those that don't come necessarily
and
that day.
the governor, what happened after we made our order, like a day after, the governor announced that he's gonna provide masks for students too. So it is announced, we will have
At the end of the
resources
day-
for that, not to cost.
At the end of the day
anyone
too,
$3.
this is the new norm, I'm sure. You
Yeah.
can't go into a school, into a store with no mask. You can't take your kid into a store with no mask. So, yeah.
And I'm sure you're right, I'm sure a lot of people already have that.
Under 2.
I know, but I was at Portillo's on Saturday night, and 5, teenagers came in. The first 3 were wearing masks, the second 2 were not, and I'm sitting there, eating my hot dog. They never said a word.
Most people wear a mask, and this
Never
is
said-
what they do. How can
And
you
it's
protect anyone doing it?
They never said a word to them about, they were never
People
you
aren't
need to wear a
enforcing
mask. They came in and ordered their food. I was like, I'm shocked. Yeah. So those will be available for those oof cases, but then if it becomes like a repeated thing, then they get charged $3. But the first actual cloth mask is free.
Yeah,
How much are we paying for those masks?
around a little bit over $3,
Okay, so this, we're not making money on that.
No.
I still don't see how we justify that and we give, either free or, a reduced fee, especially when the kids have free lunch and they charge them $3.
I just don't think that,
Or
you know,
replacement, though.
for a
Why are we
pattern,
gonna
you know, if
keep
you make
them
it a
rules?
pattern, it's
Yeah,
like,
we
why are
want-
we gonna continue to replace their mask every time, you know?
No, I'm not thinking that they
They're
should be.
required to have it for their stage, so they'd have to replace it one way or another.
That's kind of up to the kids.
But that's the ongoing battle, it's always been, and the thing that always resonates in my head is that fair isn't necessarily equal,
No.
and so.
Well, that's why I asked about if we're not making, and you said, we're not making any money on those masks.
They're $3, we pay over $3.
Okay. Then I guess we can, I can live with that.
I think it would just be like to teach them like a lesson, maybe,
Yeah.
to be more careful
I
next time.
just didn't want us to get the masks for $2 and we're charging them for $3. That was my concern.
Call it roll?
Okay, Sharon Anderson.
Yes.
Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
Vito Campanelli.
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Shannon Johnson.
Yes.
Marge Jubicek.
Yes.
George Torres.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on, action item B, I'm looking for a motion to approve the following K-8 breakfast lunch fees for school year 2020-2021. Milk, 40 cents for half pint. Paid breakfast, $1.55, reduced breakfast, 30 cents. Paid lunch, $2.95, reduced lunch, 40 cents. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll say.
Comment? Call the roll?
Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
Vito Campanelli.
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Shannon Johnson.
Yes.
Marge Jubicek.
Yes.
Sharon Anderson.
Yes.
George Torres.
Yes. Motion passes. Action item E, looking for a motion to approve it and authorize the severance agreement with Sandy Crescent as presented. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Allen?
Can we give this type of, letter to the other, staff that was also, you know, like Chris and Cory? But why didn't we vote on that then?
Was it in the packet, though? Was the letter in the packet?
Is that when I had the baby, when I missed that meeting?
Yeah.
That makes sense, I wasn't really.
Call the roll?
Okay, Vito Campanelli.
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez.
Yes.
Shannon Johnson.
Yes.
Marge Jubicek.
Yes.
Sharon Anderson.
Yes.
Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
George Torres.
Yes. Motion passes. Action item F, looking for a motion to approve and authorize the issuance of notice of non-renewal to National Investigations Act presented. Do I have a motion?
Oh, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Question, are we hiring another company?
Yes.
Are we doing it in-house? Who is doing it?
Colleen and I will be looking at it's called Clear. We spend a lot of money on this kind of, and.
I'm not mad about getting rid of them, I'm
Yeah.
not thrilled
But
with
yeah,
that.
so Clear is a database, which is basically what they use, which red flags these issues, and we'll have access to do that, and do it in a less scary way.
But are you and Colleen going to have time to do that?
We will work with the administrators as well, and we're gonna have phases of calls, interactions, notifications, proof collection, and then at a different point, then we went to, I think, Winifred and I can't remember who else went with us to that presentation at, the superintendent presented about, residency issues and how to use that process. And so we studied that model and we'll be able to do it.
I think it just needs to be known fidelity, because
Yeah.
people are always trying, and I know that you guys have a lot on your plate.
And
This is my
that's my,
greatest pet peeve. Marge will tell you for the last 12 years, it makes me crazy, people coming into our district that don't belong in our district. And not that I don't want every child to have a great education, and I'm glad they think that 103 is so great that they want to come here, but our funds are for our kids, you know, whatever town they live in, and their parents are paying in for, you know, I want more resources for our kids. I don't want to deny anybody, but I want our kids to come to school here, and not because their parents work, you know, at UOP, and it's easier to drop them off at Robinson on their way to work.
And I'm telling
Which
you,
was happening.
community members look out for it. There's these older people in town who are retired and have nothing better to do. One of them being my dad, who will sit there and watch people. He's moved out of lines now, though, but
Yeah, my husband does it.
he will sit there and watch these people, and he'll look at their stickers on their car, and he'll be like the first person to call and be like, hey, so-and-so is doing this. So like, community is also looking for that. So.
And I guess when you brought it up, my concern is what do we say with them or not? Is that, it's a lot of work to do that. And when you talk about, you know, building administrators, one of the reasons that, sometimes this wasn't as successful as it could have been is because every school used their own criteria for letting people in. And we had cases that where a child went to, you know, Lincoln and registered, and they didn't get in, but when the sibling came to Washington, they got in, and not slamming the secretary, because they saw things differently, and they maybe they learned their lesson and they got a little smarter between the schools. So if we're not gonna do this consistently through the district, that who's ever gonna do it worries me. And I truly don't wanna see the responsibility for doing, residency checks to fall back on the school principals who have way more to do than they can, or our secretaries. Being that I held both of those jobs, I know how busy a school secretary is. That's not their job to do that. So, while I don't care if you find another company, I think people are gonna be looking to see whose ultimate responsibility. And I'm thinking you and Colleen don't have the time to do this.
Well, and also, the company did not, well, I know a couple of cases, and, I don't know if they just did it with a parent. A good friend of mine has an older kid in one school, and then the other kid is coming up to a GW, so they were investigated 3 times, and it's clear that they're not looking at the history. So my friend's lived in Sydney for over 15 years, or probably more, and his son came through, you know, 5th through 8th, and then the little brother is doing the same thing, and they got investigated 3 times. So whoever was doing this was just kind of looking at what he did last year, and then it's just kind of repeated the following year. So that's just, I mean, that
We're not
was
questioning
the
this
company wasn't doing that work.
No, this company, in my opinion, did not do a good job either.
No,
I think we're all sharing a concern that it's too much work to put on you guys.
Here's my concern with like a building administrator or principal, because I had the experience once, I was working registration back when it was at the school. And I was working the TTC table, you know, trying to like hustle people for their $10. And a mother came and said, and the principal said, hey, Mrs. So-and-so, how are you? And she's like, oh, great, we moved. We live in Chicago now. They're building a charter school across the street from us, but it's not gonna be ready until later this year. So I'm putting little so-and-so back here. And I'm standing there going, oh, the principal's gonna put this in place and say you can't come here. Principal's like, oh, sure, come on my office, we'll talk. And that child went to school all year long here because the principal okayed everything. So.
The main thing I like to do, as you guys can see, is create systems. When you have systems and the software program deems you will have steps to do, they'll be reasonable, and then it'll climb up the ladder towards central office. And so it'll flow, and the principals know these parents the best.
That's what I'm saying, they know, I mean, especially if it's like a principal who's been around a long time and they really know the family.
Yeah.
Because that's what that case was.
Which is one of the reasons when they did registration, you went to every table, you just didn't go to your table as it came in. And I'm gonna say this because I have experience working with national investigations. That part of us was way too much work for one person to do in this building. It was, and so nothing, that should have never happened to your friend, George, but here's what happened. People get it in their head that child doesn't live there. They don't know the circumstances, so they keep sometimes They just keep reporting them. And the secretary will come back, they did to me, we have to, and at a point, you know, you just have to say, oh, they're there and just, but then that rumor gets out like, oh, no, they're letting people in. So, I'm not happy hearing that it's gonna go and be responsibility of the schools. But I have no problem if they don't wanna use this. I don't care if they use it.
Winifred Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Shannon Johnson.
Yeah.
Mark Dubus.
Yes.
I'm gonna skip Sharon for a second, she stepped out. Olivia Quintero?
Yes.
Vito Campanelli?
Yes. I'm afraid. My nose is cold.
Let's keep my nose cold, my fingers are cold.
If I was you, I'll put my mask on, keep a little heat in you.
Yeah.
A little more. I'm afraid. Not bad.
Oh, sure.
How's the baby doing?
Really good, yeah, she's 2 months old yesterday. She had her, shot, so she wasn't very happy.
Oh, yeah.
Did she get a fever or anything?
No, but she's just not really interested in eating, really tired, but she's 11 pounds, 11 ounces, and 23 half inches.
Oh, wow.
So it's probably the only time in her life she'll be tall and skinny. But she's doing really well. She'll probably always be tall, but.
Call her name quick.
Sharon Anderson? Yes. George Torres?
Yes, motion passes. Moving on to action item G. Looking for a motion to approve the hiring of 5 registered nurses or a combination of RNs, LPNs, or CNAs, not to exceed 5 staff members. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Question. Being again that everything changes by the minute, it has since been stated that, it does not have to be a registered nurse or LPN or, CNA. It doesn't have to be a medical person, like a certified medical person to do this. It's stated in those, that 60-page guideline.
Yeah, but what doesn't have to?
The people who are checking and doing the health stuff, what are you worried about?
We've been out of compliance for years. And actually Leslie did help with a lot of research. The things that we were doing with those health aides was not in compliance with law.
Okay, so.
And, I mean, just with this, the training and the medical expertise, I think is gonna be very important in guiding our plans and the knowledge as we evolve through the COVID.
I'm not denying that importance. I'm looking at realistically that we have not even been able to hire our own one registered nurse. We've been using the agency to get a nurse in here. So the idea of hiring 5, whether they're an LPN, an RN, or a CNA, it just doesn't seem feasible. And then we're gonna have to rely on that agency again, and it's already costing us a ton of money. I think that if we can get 1 or 2 nurses on board to administer the medications, to attend the 504 meetings, to attend the IEP meetings, to do all the legality parts of it. And we have our health aides in each school doing the temperature checks, giving the Band-Aids, calling the parents if the kid has a fever, doing those things that you don't need to be certified to do, which I was under the impression is what they were doing. And the nurse was in fact the one doing the medicines and the plant and the 504s and the IEP meetings and all of the legality parts of it. We would save money in the long run. And our health aides should not be administering meds, should not be doing the meetings and whatnot. That is what, if we had 1 or 2 nurses in the district, they would be in charge of doing that. And our health aides would be in charge of doing the everyday things that they don't need to legally be certified to do. I think that would save money in the long run. Of course, I would love to get 5 registered nurses in this district, yes. Realistically, we cannot afford that. So the nurses and other specialists, like the psychologists and all that, they are actually part of the teachers union and are generally get paid on the teacher's pay scale.
That's only, certified school nurses.
Okay, that was gonna be my
I don't
question.
think, I have to review your CPA,
They need
it's
to
been
be
a long
certified.
time, but
You're right.
typically the certified school nurses, because they're, well, now one.
Okay, so that was gonna be my question, are they gonna be paid on the scale as, you know, or are they gonna be paid,
If they are CFOs, they would have to be yes. If they're RNs, then they wouldn't be part of the
so, I'm sorry, have you spoken, with Mrs. Jackman and figured all that out, because there's no,
Yes.
you know, okay.
Question for you. Don't they have to be a certified school nurse to have this, or be going for this certified school nurses? Because I know in my district, we hired an amazing RN, and she had to go for her, certified
And
school
that's what we
nursing thing.
said, yeah.
Is that gonna be a requirement of these RNs? And if that's the case, what if they say no, because we can make more money as an RN?
If that is a law, I didn't know about it, so I mean, I guess, let me look into that.
I think we should look into that, because I'm pretty sure that's why our school nurse had to go get her certification. I know there was a backlog for school nurse certifications, like courses, but from what I understand, it's been fixed. So I think that's something that definitely needs to be looked into, because I'm 99.9% sure that that is a rule.
You know,
I'm sorry.
one of the things to look into is supervision of a school, once a certified school nurse, so that there's a certified school nurse that executes the other person who has allowed it.
I would double
But
check,
and one of them would have to be.
right, but, and also though, as a certified school nurse, I think that benefits the district financially versus a straight up RN and or whatnot, because they don't have to follow the teacher's contract then. So I would look into that.
George, remember when Dr. Baker hired the nurse?
Right.
She was, and with the stipulation that she had to
She
get,
had to get.
right, and she never did.
But that was because, well, I don't know, because that was also the time where there was a backlog for the nurses.
Well, she just didn't go.
No, she just
And
didn't
we
go.
paid her a whole lot more extra money with the assumption that she was gonna do that. So,
Yeah, because we were gonna pay for her to get that.
so,
Yeah.
That was one of the stipulations.
So- if the salary for the nurses or whatever we hire, does that come out of the ed fund or are those purchase services?
If they're hired through us, they would be out of the ed fund.
Okay.
If we don't have anybody and we have to serve, because as you know, right now, we have some individual students with needs that we're actually kind of carrying 3 RNs right now.
Mm-hmm.
And through Maxim, because
For a lot of money.
if they had an RN in the building, we'd be able to service that student and the others, but in this case, you know, through the IEP process, we've had to have some kind of one-to-one nurse.
We've had some really medically fragile, over the years, really medically fragile students that came here that required, a one-on-one nurse just because of the physical problems they had. And I think we're delusional if we think that having one nurse in a building is gonna be able to take care of all the needs, all the medicines, everything, and still work with the child that needs a one-on-one nurse. That's not gonna happen. I don't think that we're going to, be able to find, if we haven't been able to find them. What started the health aides a long time ago, and things have changed, I get that, is that we had 2 nurses. I don't believe either of them were school nurses. And the health aides were under their, certificate. Now, maybe they shouldn't have done that, but I'm just telling you what they did. Here's my concern, we just voted to basically put $1.2 million in the ed fund. And now we're looking to hire six nurses, and if they're not registered, if they're not school nurses, or, and they're not coming in on, the teacher salary, if even putting in on the teacher salary, we're still talking several $100,000. This year, if you go back and look at the bill list, we've already spent $300,000 on the agency. I'm not willing to do that. I think that we have to come up with a different plan. Because we can see it now. You can say you're gonna try, and I know you'll try. They'll put it up. Then they come in and they find out if they're coming in on the teacher's salary, that I don't know what our beginning salary is, but if they're coming in as a, you know, an LPN or, a CNA, and they stand to come in at our salary at, like, say, if our beginning salary is $48,000, and I just heard this yesterday, they can go to an agency, and they're gonna make at least $25,000 more a year. So, and they're doing the same work. So it's not as though they're helping kids, they're doing that. Now, we transfer that money into the education fund because we're short, and now we're willing to take this on, and I can't even imagine what we would have to pay for five nurses. So, I don't think we can afford this. I think that there has to be a creative way to meet the needs of the kids and still not drown the district in debt.
It's actually cheaper than what you just mentioned, we're already paying, and that didn't even include the hundred and some thousand for the health aid, so it's good. That's hundred and some thousand, where we're looking at over 300,000, you said, for the maximum. These would come up to, if we averaged, and we went with about 75,000 per, you come out, I think it was around 350,000, and that's, you know, what one's a CNA, it's not gonna be as much, so we went a little bit aggressive, and with that, we're already at 400, so either way, we're gonna be coming down.
So what are you saying, let me just say this one more time to me. How much do you think that we're gonna pay, the starting salary is gonna be for, say we can get an RN? What are we gonna have to pay
Benefits
them?
and salary, we threw out a rough estimate of around 75,000. The salary benefits, and including or incorporating an LPN or a CNA, which will probably be in the mix, which is why I'm asking for that flexibility, is to be able to, and they can actually legally work under the license of an NRN. So with that mix, I think we're gonna come right around the 350, 375.
Now you can hire 6 of them, you're not. Fine.
5 additions.
I'm hearing that I think, and also, I just want to point out, CNAs cannot administer medication. I know that for a fact, because I was just in the hospital, and I asked my CNA for my Tylenol, and she said, oh, honey, I'm a CNA, let me go get your nurse, I can't give you medicine. So CNAs cannot administer medicine, just FYI.
And if you just said that they're gonna work under the certificate of the nurse, then how is that different? If you hire CNAs, then how is that different?
Because I'm under the impression that they can, and I'll look into that.
Because then if we're gonna pay,
Licensed practicing nurses can, CNAs, certified nursing assistants cannot.
so still, if you're talking 5 registered nurses, and maybe we pay them more than an LPN, that's five people, that's, at 75, that's $450,000, that's $500,000. Almost.
That's when we're just under where we were.
How do you figure?
And just with the agency, we had 300,000. And we had another 100,000 for over 100,000 for the health aid. When we're gonna have everyone qualified to be able to do something.
I'm still thinking that we need to, and it's gonna pass anyway, but we could look into keeping our kids safe, if there's somebody there.
If the CNA can't distribute medicine, that's something we should probably look into removing.
Right.
Keep it as registered nurse and LPN. Or
No, I
LPN.
agree. I was under the impression that they could, that's why, and again, this is just approval to look at the
So we'll be able to
combination.
vote.
I will bring back recommendations that will be in compliance with the law.
And you'll look into the nursing, the school.
So are you asking to take CNA off of this one then?
If they cannot.
Well, then how can we vote yes then on this, Unless you,
Well,
unless
now
you
we
take,
would probably have to
amend the motion,
amend
take
this, right?
But we don't know that, I mean, I'd like to look into that first.
Well, then can we
And
make a
make a
motion to
Then can
table
we
it?
table this to the next
I mean,
meeting?
I don't have a
What is
problem.
the sense of urgency for this, because I don't want to say
There's a sense of urgency.
There is a
Right.
sense of urgency,
So
but
we
because
all
there's a
have
sense
it.
of urgency, I don't mind coming to another meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have another
What
meeting.
if you hire, Stan, what if you hire, say, you get 3 CNAs, and you hire them, and then we find out we can't have them?
That's
There's
what
a
I'm saying.
thing.
Why don't we, can this be amended to say, CNAs will be taken off if they cannot perform the duties needed? Something of that nature, and I would not bring it.
It could be, but I don't even know why it's on here. I guess you're asking really to create a position, if you're going to hire these people, they have to come back to the board for approval anyway.
Right.
So,
And that's why
Right,
he was
but why
asking
waste
for the
your time? I
flexibility.
think your
And
point is
he
why
doesn't
waste your
No,
have-
I wouldn't go interviewing, I would do the research first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like if you found out that CNAs, like, we're correct, I know I'm correct. So then if a CNA applies, you just would not interview them.
Or I would just, make the qualifications different,
Okay.
and just exclude that, and not waste anybody's.
And your expectation is that that nurse in the building is going to do the health records and take care of that, those clerical things that deal with kids, like the health aides, getting them into, they're gonna do that?
And then there's other items that were going undone, the vision and vision and hearing testing that was being refused to be done, and we're,
Well, I think the district dropped the ball on that. They should have had that training for everyone, and not everybody was trained.
Well,
And so,
they put it out there, and people refuse to go to training. A lot of us.
well, I never heard that.
Mandating it, and it never was mandated either.
No,
so.
no, and the thing is that, just from the backlog of that, sometimes you can only get 1 or 2 people in, and I don't think it was pursued every year. Bottom line is, I don't think you're gonna find 5 nurses to do this. And, then we go to an agency, and we just transferred that, I think maybe there's a way to relook at.
So how will we
this and
word
that.
No,
Well,
we'll leave it as that, and then we're
Okay.
going to approve whenever he finds the candidates, and that's taking care of that.
Yeah, we have to approve their employment.
Got it.
Just for training.
So in other words, if you bring back a CNA, we'll be like, no.
No.
Right.
I don't want to waste your time or mine or anyone interviewing.
You probably will.
Winifred Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Shannon Johnson.
No.
Mara Judith.
I'm gonna vote no, but I have a question, though, because when you post this job, are you gonna post it at $75,000?
No, that was just,
Is that, and that would be 75, say it's 75, whatever, say it's, that's $50,000 plus benefits. So now you have to check another $20,000 if they take family on it.
He did say 75 was with that.
When did that?
I was there to say 75.
Sharon Anderson.
No, you're not gonna get anybody to take that job.
Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
Vito Campanelli. George Torres.
Yes, motion passes. Now I'm looking for a motion to adjourn at 8:13.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Wait, who, I'm sorry.
I'll make the motion.
Vito got it?
seconded.
All in favor?
No, I do, I do,
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Shannon Johnson.
Yes.
Mara Judith.
yes.
Sharon Anderson.
Yes.
Olivia Quintero.
Yes.
Vito Campanelli.
Yes.
Winifred Rodriguez. George Torres.
Yes, motion passes.
And I just want to point something out, we've had 11 people at the meeting all night.
Good point. Well, and when our police officer friend was here.
There were 12.
Actually, it was
Vito, don't leave, please.
But they're not in the same room,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who seconded the adjournment?
Oh, I'm sorry, which one?
The adjournment, who seconded it?
Oh, Vito.
Vito, thank you.
I know, right?
Chris,
yes.
can you-
You want to catch me up there? I'll hit the rest.
oh, I'll go after your next.
feels better in the hallway than it does.
Yeah, and hopefully